The Doors lead singer Jim Morrison was a disaster when he arrived in Paris during March 1971 with his girlfriend Pam Courson. She had been his long-term companion since 1965, but their relationship was never exclusive. She was a heroin addict and the perfect enabler for his final act of self-destruction. Morrison at 27 was no longer the lean, leather-clad lizard king that fans remembered. His excessive beer drinking had bloated his face and figure. An unkempt beard and mustache obscured his exotic and iconic look. He was burned out and creatively fizzled. His final performances were dismal and often erratic. He was awaiting a verdict following his 40-day trial after being charged with exposing himself on stage in Miami. He'd arrived in Paris to clean and sober up. Instead, his stay would seal his coffin permanently. The couple began staying at the George V Hotel and the Hotel d'Alsace before settling into a third-floor rented apartment near the Marais and Bastille district. Ironically, the Hotel d'Alsace had been where Irish writer Oscar Wilde died. For the most part of his stay, he remained an obscure tourist, strolling the streets during the daytime, visiting bookshops, and immersing himself into Paris life. It is difficult to determine if he was recharging or simply aimless. His final evening included a film called Pursued and a Chinese restaurant dinner. The couple returned to their accommodations. His heavy breathing awakened Courson. He decided to take a bath and reportedly suffered a fatal heart attack. She discovered him the next morning, and the rumors began. Some speculated it was a heroin overdose. There were claims the undertaker wrapped his body in plastic and packed it with ice in the tub before removing it 3 days later. The details still remain murky, and Courson would die of an overdose 3 years later. Morrison would be buried in the Père Lachaise cemetery in Paris and become one of the most frequently visited and desecrated grave sites.